Yeah, crypto's got talent. Deep in Jesus and Aaron on my kettle.
Okay, welcome everybody. We are good. Everybody that's supposed to speak is here. The projects are here. The panelists are here. Welcome to Crypto's Got Talent episode 6. I'm here. My name is Giuseppe. I'm the Deep in Jesus, and I'm here with my co-host Aaron. Aaron, how are you today?
Super pumped for episode 6. We're coming off of a high with episode 5 filmed in person in New York City, and couldn't have been more successful. We were actually beating the Digital Asset Summit at times there in terms of live viewership. So super pumped and super excited to get going here for episode 6.
I know, it's crazy, and it's all coming along. There is so many cool things, and I think maybe one super nice announcement that we're going to have in just a few. But anyway, let's maybe do a quick recap because we have some of the speakers here that we have on stage with us for the first time. These projects are obviously pitching for the first time. So, Aaron, what are we doing today?
Yeah, we've got some really cool projects that are joining today for Crypto's Got Talent that are going to be pitching. One is called Xylon, another Wallet Hidden, Nubila Network, Avo, and Datagram.
Awesome. And basically think of this as some sort of like accelerator program. It's, in collaboration with the Polygon team and AgLayer, who are sponsoring basically development for all these projects. AgLayer is here with us on stage today. The idea is that instead of just running it all behind closed doors, we're just running it as think of it as like America's Got Talent show plus Shark Tank. And so each project will basically come up here on stage, pitch for about 5 minutes, and then let's maybe leave about 5 to 7 minutes for Q&A with our panelists. And we try to obviously invite our friends to basically come up here on stage with us and learn about these projects. And it just so happens that our friends are quite expert in the deep-in sector. So it works really well. All right. What do you say?
Yeah, maybe it's a good chance if you guys want to introduce yourselves as well, panelists.
Yeah.
And then we'll jump into our theme song.
Oh, yeah. Theme song and then announcement. First up on my list is Scott. Scott, how are you doing today? Thanks for joining us again.
Hey, Aaron, what's up? My D-Pin kings and queens. Super excited to be here. I love this show. This is what the space needs. We need more distribution. We need more eyes in the D-Pin prize. So, yeah, I'm excited to hear all these real-world applications cook. And if you've never heard me talk, I'm the founder of D-Pin Daily and now the founder of Orbital Beam, which is a real-world network consortium. So hopefully I hear some cool projects that we can work with in the future. And we work with cool-ass people like Aaron himself. And, yeah, man, let's get it.
Cheers. Love it.
All right. Awesome. And the next up on my screen, I have Daniel from Hotspotty. How you doing today? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, first time for you. So, yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. Super excited to be here. I think the show is something that the space definitely needs, like Scott mentioned. I'm Daniel. I'm the founder of Hotspotty and Deepin Hub. Been in the space for, many years, in crypto even longer, but excited to grind on some projects here with you guys. And, I love IoTech. I love Aaron and Giuseppe, what you guys do. Meet you guys around the world and just brainstorm about how we can make the space bigger, something that I'm always for. Let's do this.
Let's go. Awesome. And we have also another new speaker is Leonardo from CMC. Thanks for joining us. Again, first time for you as well. So nice to meet you as well. First time we're speaking.
Yes, nice to meet you guys. Thanks for the invite. With CMC, CoinMarketCap, we're always looking for exciting projects, to tap into for our accelerator program, for any of our initiatives. So yeah, very curious to hear the pitches. And yeah, thanks again for letting me join.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, guys, so let's say judges, panelists, however we want to define ourselves, feel free to ask any question in the Q&A. Obviously, keep in mind I always say, it's really difficult for these guys to just come up here, share their ideas, and any feedback that we have, we just do it constructively and tactfully. But feel free to poke holes, anything that you want to know, anything that you want to dig deeper, it's all welcome. For everybody who's listening, just wanted to basically say after this, maybe next week or so, we're going to announce call them winners for the phase 1, and then we're moving to the phase 2 of the show. And so stay tuned for that, everybody also listening. Now, Aaron is the person that made the most amazing theme song ever for our show.
All right, let's play it.
Let's do it.
We'll make that crypto deal.
Yes, let's make the crypto deal. Sounds good. All right. Before we get to the little surprise that we have for you, shall we start with the first project, Aaron? What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. You want to introduce them?
Yeah, first up, we got Xylon. Xylon, can you wave a hand here and jump up on stage?
We got to add them as a speaker. Xylon, can you request to speak when you have a moment? And in the meantime, maybe we just jump to the next project.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
Next up, looks like we got Wallet Hidden. Are you up here?
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
I see
here.
Hidden.
Awesome.
All right, let's go, my friend. Let's do 5 or so minutes for a pitch, or however you feel like it. But then be prepared to maybe at least leave 5 to 6 minutes for Q&A.
Sure, yeah. So just making a test. Everything's okay?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Oh no, so this is Xylon actually. Xylon, let's pause for a second because we were introducing Wallet Hidden, and then we'll go to you right after. Sounds good?
Sure, yeah. Thank you.
So
Okay.
it's hiding. Can I speak? You hear me well?
Yeah,
Yes.
go for it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, thanks. Hello, everyone. My name is Valentin Frechka. I'm CTO and co-founder of Hidden. And I hope you hear me well, because I'm going to dive all of you into an excited journey of the reinvented security of the crypto that we are doing at Hidden. But to start, I want you imagine in your heads that potentially it's a bull run. Your bag is up, airdrops are live, you're breeding, minting, swapping, everything is from your phone, and simply saying you're interacting actively with your crypto assets. But there will still be a very big question, that's what is about your security? It's still a sticky note, a screenshot, or just a seed phrase buried in your notes, or even writing a safe message in Telegram. And I would call it the silent killer in crypto, because we have all been forced to choose between the convenience or security. And let's be honest, we lean forward to convince until it's too late, unfortunately. And that's exactly why we build the Hidden, because it's the first multi-layer hardware wallet embedded in your phone case. No any cables, no USB sticks, no forgetting your cold wallet at home. Hidden is with you always, because your phone case is already it. And it's become possible thanks to our proprietary tap interaction core, which we call TIC. This is a special chip which solves the issue of the security of valuable assets within a two-way and a three-factor security system. It's EL6 Plus certified at the same level used on the military IDs, for example. And how it works. So it generates and stores your seed phrase directly in the chip. After, it's authenticates you through the physical presence. And it signs your transaction on chain like an Apple Pay with a single tap, all without ever exposing your private key. And with a Hidden, a seed phrase alone is worthless to attackers. Only the physical case, embedded chip, and your biometric presence together can unlock and sign the transactions. It's a triple-layer security model that turns your phone case, simply say, into the cryptographic gatekeeper. And it's a gold mine of the protection for the exchanges, wallets, or just the simple individuals who cares about the crypto. And your phone is just the screen, and the case is the wall. So, and here, I just want to say that the best part is the setup, because it's very simple. Everything what you need is just to have this phone case. You need to insert your phone into this case, download the Hidden app, tap to activate and pass the few actions, and that's it. It's a very simple and takes less than 1 minute. There is no any friction, no learning curves, no compromise. It feels like a normal case, but functions like a secure hardware enclave and a new experience. And yes, it's designed to be affordable from day one. We are not building any luxury. It's just the building everyday protection for everyone. And we are not trying at the same time to replace or to reinvent the MetaMask or Phantom or the other wallets. We are here to protect them. Like, it's the new way of thinking how the people is using their wallets. It's to make sure that it's really you behind the every transactions. Because of the next evolution of the Web3 security isn't about the passwords, I would say. It's about the presence. Just touch, tap, and trust. Because with the all technologies that we have now, just only the passwords that you've written in the sticker is not enough. And right now, we are at the MVP stage. The chip is real, the activation is working, that we need you, the real users, the real feedback, and the real momentum. That's why today we are inviting you to join our first cohort and to use the possibility to pre-order the hidden case at a special early price at hiddenwallet.com. And we are giving you the possibility to be part of the community that shapes this product with us together. And from us, you get the military grade security. And from you, we ask just early belief, honest feedback, and support. So I'm just inviting you to let's be together, and not just for the crypto natives, but for everyone who is coming next. And Hidden is about the simple, secure, which is always with you. Thank you for your attention.
Aaron, I think these pitches are getting better and better.
That was clean. Great voice too. I love it.
Yeah, very nice. And as a matter of fact, then you raise a good point. If you want to share the link for people to maybe go and experiment with your project, feel free to share the link, and then we can just pin it to the top. So everybody else, Avox, Xylon, Datagram, feel free to do the same, so that at least whoever is listening can come and like check out your projects. At this point, I'm going to step away and I let the judges do their magic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nice. First of all, congratulations on the. Am I supposed to ask questions? Is that how it works?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Awesome.
You can also make statements.
No, it was a great presentation. Let's go. Let's start with that. I like what you guys are doing. I think having something with you all the time, because everybody has their phone with them. What is the difference between this implementation and, for example, Tangem Wallet, right? I think I feel that it's kind of similar to that. The second question is, what happens? Do you have how is the backup of that in case someone steals your phone, or is your phone's drop in the water when you're going swimming? And are you guys manufacturing the hardware yourselves? How's that work? Sorry, 3 questions, maybe too much.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. Like, I actually like them. Thank you. And actually, I expected that you will compare that with the Tangem, because actually we also did a deep research before to start to work with these new chips, and it's pretty similar. But like in their case, they are using the NFC technologies with the great fix. And what is making different us from them is that we are not just about the crypto hard wallet. It's about the multi-layer solution, which allows you to save your seed phrase and also to use this chip as the point that you use for signing transactions. And also, if you lost, for example, access to your phone or to your seed phrase, you can easily like restart everything with just this chip. So, and also what is made different that we can integrate it with other existing crypto wallets. It's kind of cooperation that can use this technology. And since they are users buying our phone cases, they can sign their own transactions in the wallets like MetaMask or Phantom with our cases. So it's like this main difference here. And going to next question, if you drop it in water, there is nothing happen because the phone case is made from the bioplastic, actually, which is a point because we care about ecology. But at the same time, it's totally, waterproof, and it's not soluble in the water. And the chip is integrated inside a corp, so it means that there is no direct interaction with the water or other environment. So there's like fully secured. And the third question was, can you please remind me?
Who's manufacturing the actual hardware?
Yeah, actually, we have our team that's working on the all metal work, like doing research, developing, etc. But also the full-scale production is on the outsourcing. Partially, we work with the STM Electronics and with the SAG company in Taiwan. It's in terms of the microchips, and in terms of the phone cases, it's China and India.
Awesome. Where are the team based, or you?
Partially, like the part of the team are in Paris. Personally, me, I'm in Paris. Basil is my partner. He is in London, and partial of team they're in Ukraine. And actually, now we are trying to build much more like bigger team involving the people from the US and from the Canada.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yeah, just to build on top of like previous questions. So I'm excited that you care about the sustainability element, but I'm very curious to hear what's the process with actually losing access to your phone, if like I think that wasn't covered before, if it's stolen or you lose it, because like how do you start from scratch? There has to be like centralization aspect there. if you can recover. That's the same kind of like, buzz we had like with Ledger, where you can recover your accounts, and that becomes way less decentralized. So I'm curious to hear how you're tackling that.
Yeah, actually, it's a philosophical question, and like the final concept that is fully work and that we're sure that is the only one way is that if we go through the market and we test it with the real customers in different focus group, etc. Because for now we have the concept that we are following and trying to develop it, and for now, like step by step. First of all, with a wallet, it's kind of, well, the wallet is designed to securely generate, store, and protect your seed phrase directly inside the embedded secure chip. And during the setup, a unique BIP39 compliant seed phrase is generated within the chip itself, and it's never exposed to the screen, the cloud, or any external connections. In case, if you lose your phone, for example, or it's broken, you won't lose your access to the funds because your phone case is a compatible smartphone to download the hidden app, access your portfolio. Well, for example, you can scan this chip in the phone case with the other phone or with the other devices where you can download the hidden app. In case if you lose access to your like a phone or like both phone and a phone case, there is a different way because we have an encrypted backup. Also, it could be the multi-device synchronization, which we're trying to develop. And also it's a manual seed backup. It's up to our users. For the full control, you can export and securely store the seed phrase offline using the industry standard methods. We're pretty flexible here, and we cannot guarantee the 100% sure that is the only one. It's not a panacea, it's just a new way how to protect the assets and access to the wallets,
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And you're constantly mentioning that you really want to get this to the market, get feedback from consumers. Have you done any like beta testing, with like a small pool of like early users or whatever to confirm certain like gaps in the either from the hardware perspective or from the kind of app perspective?
Well, in perspective of the hardware, we are mostly secure about everything what we've created. It's now the stage when we need to try to pilot it with the real customers. That's why actually I announced that we are collecting the real leads who can try to work together with us to provide their feedbacks, their expectations, their pain needs to make our go-to-market strategies much more affordable for the potential users. We are at the MVP stage. It means that we have already the hardware product, and now we're actively working on the software product. And with the pilot users, we want to assemble everything together and go in the market with all of them.
Right. And one last question from my side, and I'll let the other panelists speak. So how many people have you already onboarded, and how many are on the pre-order list?
Well, actually, we just started it yesterday. So, we were very close to this event because we were preparing especially for the event to be ready everything to start collecting the leads from today. Because we did a small groups, especially in Paris, with the community of the Station F incubator. But, it was not very relative data because there was different people who had not it's a friends, not so much people using the crypto. That's why we decided, okay, we're just waiting our time, and it's better to go and targeting the people who will be on this event, and we can collect the first leads. And after using these leads, because they have their friends, family, etc., we can hire more and more people.
All right. Okay. Well, then good luck with these early stages. Excited to track your progress. And that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thanks also for the questions. Very nice questions and conversation.
Likewise.
Scott, Aaron, anything from you guys?
Yeah, we'd love to see when we can get one in our hands here, especially as a product person. I love trying these things out and giving feedback. So maybe just give a quick shout out of where we can get involved.
Yeah, Hidden, do you want to share maybe a link or call to action for anybody listening?
Yes, actually.
After, yeah.
How can I share the link? Because I posted it somewhere in the chat, but where should I do this?
It's hidden-wallet.com, right?
Oh yeah, it's in the there's a link.
Drop it in the comments basically, and then we'll pin it.
It's already pinned.
Yes,
I just pinned it. So it looks like
nice, Aaron.
Yeah, it looks like it's $40 to pre-order. Very cool.
Yes, actually, yes. And it's comparing with the competitors. It's like most affordable. That's what we learned, because like most of the competitors, they're trying to sell a very simple solution of the NFC technologies, paying like 160 euro, which doesn't make sense for us.
Would you guys consider yourself a competitor to Ledger, or do you think that people should still have their Ledger? And,
No, actually, no. We are not trying to compete them, because it's the totally different target of the people who are using this. In our case, it's mostly for the daily user transactions, very quick, when you need to send money, when you need to accept them, when you need to exchange, or you need to have an access to your crypto wallet in a daily base. It's for the quick, because like there is a lot of users who are doing streams. They can show their seed phrase somewhere, like it was a few months ago, and the guy lost a lot of crypto. It's like it's a high quality mass market product, I would say.
Very cool. Awesome. Yeah, I think this is good. Any other questions from the panelists before we move on?
No, I think everybody nailed it, Aaron. That's why I didn't really have nothing to say.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, though.
Thank you all for this opportunity. Like much appreciated. It's very nice.
Of course. We'll be in touch with next phase. Thank you, Hidden Wallet. And next up, we have Xylon.
Xylon, I got to interrupt you once more, though. I do see there is something interesting pinned on the top of the screen, and it's our new Cryptos Got Talent website. It's live. Guys, feel free to have a look. I think it looks super cool. I just want to say publicly, amazing job to our team. And I think you guys did an amazing, super cool job. Aaron, have you had a chance to check it out?
Yeah, a big fan for sure. I think it captures all of our different links from the different episodes, and we have Spotify launching as well soon, just trying to get through different mediums to get this out in front of as many people as possible. So yeah, go and check it out. We'll continue to post every episode there as well.
Awesome. And we have a few more updates coming up. But yeah, I think it's time for Xylon now. I will stop interrupting their moment.
So greetings all. First, I want to say thank you to everyone making this happening and for the opportunity to pitch again. Also, this is a very nice space. We're going to build some great things together, I believe, looking at the other projects as well. So we have started working on Xylon officially around 4 months ago. And although we have been silent on social media lately, we've been working hard in the background. So lately, like energy efficiency and tokenization are really reshaping the market landscape. So in 2024, the market reached around $4 billion, and with the projection to reach around 8 billion in 2029 and 14 billion in around 2033. So driven by some smart home adaptation and energy incentives, of course. This is happening due to few problems that we are targeting today specifically. So the traditional ways of climate control or any heating, cooling systems, whatever it is for facilities, it's actually somewhat outdated, and most of the time it requires like significant energy, or it relies on fossil fuels, and it's costly, and it has a lengthy return of investment, if any. So another problem is that the heat produced by cryptocurrency mining equipment, it's always seen as high energy process and not hugely adapted. So also energy decentralization is another thing that was never possible due to huge companies controlling the market and so on. So huge corporations also need more opportunities for buying sustainable energy and carbon credits to minimize their prints. So we are targeting not one but few problems here. And so we have developed sustainable blockchain-based systems that allow users to start actual return of investment since of day one, and remove the need for fossil fuels and integrate renewable sources of energy to maximize efficiency, of course. Uplifting the process of traditional mining equipment through heat retention, we managed not also to make the traditional proof of work better, but also to digitalize some like two real-world assets. So through the power of blockchain, the systems will be issuing two digitalized assets representing saved energy and prevented carbon directly. So customers that are buying these systems will gain access not only to instant return of investment, but also to a digitalized open market. the benefit is for all. So whereas I mentioned huge corporations will get access to more and digitalized renewable energy in the future, and we believe has to be done through the blockchain. So in our way of development, of course, as we want to make this transparent as possible and of course reliable as possible, we managed to form some key connections and partnerships while also utilizing the SME patent grant for our systems. So we have partnered up with key manufacturers like Seed Studio and Engineered Fluids, who strongly believe in our project actually and are building a better future with us as we speak. So in terms of like compliance and more specifically KYC requirements, where when there is some, how can I say, when there is some like any energy tokens that need to be traded, that anyone wants to trade, have to go through some KYC. So we have also partnered with Evrotrust to ensure any KYC requirements will be met on a global and local level. And in terms of regulations, we have collaborated with Cleversoft, who is a small, it's not small, but it's a local company who will walk us through the process to ensure that we also meet with the required standards. So we are positioned well to establish and expand our market presence globally, starting with the EU and the US, of course, by launching pilot projects and establishing a stronger vendor network with some unofficial and future partners, of course. So Xylon was established in Bulgaria. We, the founders, know each other for more than 2 decades personally. So this is always a good thing for me to have the trust. And I've been trading personally, mining and investing in crypto since 2016. So initially I started exploring better ways to cool my mining equipment, of course, but later it transitioned to recapturing the heat and learning further how to optimize the whole thing. Also, my co-founders have well-established experience in the crypto trading and investing, and one of them is actually a very well-educated back dev. So with that being said, actually my pitch here is done, and I just want to say that we are looking to start actually to go in production. So in terms of smart contracts and like the blockchain thing, the whole digitalization is going to happen with some partners from BitPay in terms of coding, and of course advisors are needed. So yeah, thank you again for the time, and thank you for the whole thing.
Awesome, thank you. Opening up to the judges now.
Hey Xylon, can you give me like a 30-second exactly what you guys do at Xylon?
So yes, we are recapturing the heat from mining equipment, and we are utilizing it for different purposes in terms of climate control.
And then, okay, got it. And for your client, your customers, are you trying to onboard, enterprises? Like, who's your customer here?
Like we don't have a specific customers, like anyone that has like traditional heating, cooling system, whatever it is, even water heating, it can be replaced with this system. So I have also personally managed to develop, of course, through a mobile app and some other ways to simplify the process for like elderly people and such. So we don't have a specific customer base, but we know that, for example, customers that are already mining are going to want this, of course, but any traditional HVAC system can be replaced with this.
Got it. And then last thing, where are you at with funding? And the other question is, what happened to your website?
So yeah, we actually were exploring different opportunities for hosting the website, and we are actually developing a new design website right now, which we think we need because we also have been invited to some press conference and it's getting public and all that. So yeah. So what was the first question again? Sorry, I'm starting from backwards.
Oh, I was just curious, like, since you don't know your customer base yet, so I was wondering, like,
Are you getting funding to scale? Like, how does this thing grow?
So we actually do know our customer base. So people that are utilizing renewable sources of energy are already very interested in buying our systems directly. So there is that. Of course, the popularity is going to come with marketing and such things. In terms of funding, we have managed to get the patent funding and basically develop the system to perfection and testing it. But we have not gotten any further funding from that, if this answers your question.
So you're trying to seek a patent for this technology. Is that true?
We are going after the European patent, and we are looking to expand the compliance in the US as well.
Got you.
What
Yeah,
about sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Scott, whereas, from the pitch, it was quite unclear, like the exact services you provide. And then, you're mentioning like, oh, we know our customer base. It's about, really replacing these kind of like heat models at this moment. But like, can you name like specific service providers? I assume, for example, like Bitcoin miners, that's the most like straightforward like client base. But that's, kind of field is shrinking. And I feel like, I don't know, in the next 5-10 years, I feel like we're not, of course you can pivot, but we're not going to have as extensive client base as you have now and that you thought, you might tap into. So I'm just curious to hear, what's your plan for the next like 5 to 10 years and the exact avenues you can actually tap into with like, Bitcoin miners. Like that's very clear clientele. What other clear clienteles you can share with us?
So actually the target is not like specific miners, neither it's Bitcoin miners or Kaspa miners or Dogecoin miners, whatever miners they are. Actually the target is the everyday user here. So like if you want to replace your system and actually start to have return of investment since day one, because usually this doesn't happen, this is your product. Yeah. So of course people that are already utilizing renewable sources of energy are already interested in such thing because they are in my eyes they are simply educated. Like whoever is educated a little bit on blockchain, renewable energy and such things is going to want to buy the systems. Of course we didn't go into like very big marketing and such just because we want to comply with our patenting and all the things that it comes with it. But yeah, in general we have like already people interested to buy the systems, and they are not like 1 to 5 people. There are a lot of people. I mean locally we cannot speak about because we have not expanded on such a marketing level yet, but locally we can say that we have a lot of people that are interested in it because it's not I mean I can give you some prices of what the system is going to cost, but you also have some smaller versions of the systems and such that are going to be more like are not going to cost so much.
Yeah, I guess like this is one of the like products that are difficult to pitch via audio because there are just so many intricacies and like technical angles that you need to kind of understand and go through. But like I'm still having so much trouble understanding how is this directed towards everyday user. Like none of us, like I feel like at this point in time would like understand how to interact like or like already directly like engage with like renewable energy like as like a provider rather than like end user. So for me like just the whole like business model is like a bit shaky, but I understand you're in early stages and maybe once I would see a deck and like white paper and like that you would like clearly outline your strategy and your go-to here, then it would become clearer. But for now it's like a bit messy, and maybe because you're early stage you're you're allowed to be messy. But yeah, I feel like right now it's really difficult to evaluate where this is going, where it can prove of benefit. And the only way I can see it interacting with everyday user is just them buying a token, and like that's that. But yeah, again, very limited information that we can gather here in in the spaces. So yeah, that's just observation from my side.
If I could just expand on that very quickly, I'm not just going to take long. So I've just forgot to mention we have partnered with some like exchanges that are actually dealing with digitalized assets, real world assets. So I guess your question is how you're going to interact and you're going to become the provider of such tokens or digitalized assets. And I guess is what I said before, like, of course, you're using mobile apps every day, I guess. So I don't think for you it's going to be a problem to say like, hey, I want to keep my tokens today when just with a single click of a button, you can sell them or keep them or whatever you want to do. The same goes for the like, because we are utilizing the heat of traditional proof of work equipment, we are not taking any of the proof of work like value that is coming out of it. You can have it, you can sell it today, you can sell it tomorrow, you can stake it, you can do whatever you want with it. If this makes sense to you.
Hey, Xylon, hey, real quick, man, because you're just making it more confusing. So I want to give you some like good call to action, some advice. So when you explain this, you want to just be really clear. Like you explained it really well in 30 seconds when I asked you, right? So practice your elevator pitch, like all that other stuff. Yeah, we think our customers can do this. That we think like just get rid of all of that and just this is what we do. This is the use cases and be clear and concise. Bitcoin is cool, like Leonardo said, but a lot of us that work in accelerators investment, we look at 5-year, 10-year, 12-year, 15-year lines. So you want to have a clear and concise plan. Okay, yeah, we're doing Bitcoin mining now, but now we want to do data centers that are underwater in pools and oceans. And here is the use cases for that. And then this is the value that we think that we can bring to these different sectors outside of Bitcoin mining. And I think that just being clear on those two things would make your pitch very more like understandable, but easier on you to have to like slice and dice, like what Leonardo said, like 50 different kind of things, and then kind of confuse someone who really doesn't know about, heating, data centers, Bitcoin mining, and have to look at a deck. You just want to practice that 30-second elevator pitch. What do I do? Here's our use cases, and this is how we're gonna change the world using DeepIn.
Got it. Thank you.
I have a question then. On a different side, like on the hardware side, how do you guys gonna measure, the heat being generated by this mining servers? Can you also work on like a regular data center? Like work from tier 1, tier
Yeah.
2, 3, etc. data centers, right?
Yeah, just to expand on the previous thing, so to speak more directly, you're looking into around 6 years return of investment on the system, where the traditional system, most of them don't offer that. And yes, this can be used on data centers, of course. This is happening through multiple, and we are actually building some custom sensors, custom IoT sensors. So yeah, this is happening through multiple sensors and some calculations like physics, if I can say straight. So yeah, if this answers your question.
What kind of hardware do we need for that?
As a customer, you mean? Or
Like, let's say I have a data center and I want to start using your product to lower my cost or get some like carbon credits or something like that, right? What kind of investment do I need to do?
I mean, I could tell you if we comply with our IP in the US, I guess. But yeah, to answer your question, you don't need much.
All
What would
right,
that be?
guys.
Okay.
No, no, Daniel, I'm just trying to wrap because we have
Okay,
two
cool.
more and everybody has kind of like some allotted time. That's about, to 12, 14 minutes. Let's move on. But I mean, Xylon, thank you, for doing this. Thanks for taking the questions and answering. If anybody has any questions for him, just drop it in the comments and I'm sure Xylon can get them to them offline. Let's move on now. We have Nubila on the list next, right, Aaron?
Yes, would love to bring Nubila onto the stage.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you, everyone.
Toby, all yours.
Hey, yeah, thanks, guys, for having us. And your continued support. I hear you guys were talking about Nubila to the US lawmakers recently. So yeah, very excited to be here. I'm Toby Skinner. I'm the CMO here at Nubila. Our mission is to build the world's largest decentralized network of environmental data, and we're starting with the weather. Built on IoTeX, of course, our DeepIn network rewards people who purchase our weather station, and we manufacture the hardware ourselves. And through the hardware, they contribute super hyperlocal real-time weather data. We have deployed over 20,000 stations to date. Each one collects temperature, wind, air pressure, UV, and humidity. And we also have over 16,000 node operators kind of validating the data for us. Of course, this data has real value itself as a real world asset, but most importantly, it can be used to fuel AI models that take the decentralized data layer we're building and turns it into critical business and climate intelligence. So weather forecasting itself has been just completely turned on its head by AI. I used to work for Weather Underground, which was the first weather website back in the mid-90s. And it used to take 6 hours to run a forecast model back then. Now with AI, it's like less than a minute. So yeah, the amount of data you put into any model, right, is going to help drive the quality of the output. So having more weather observations around the world has never been more important for everybody working on AI forecasting. We've actually also launched our own weather AI agent called Kayla. Of course, we're using the Bino AI framework that IoTeX and Eliza OS built together. But most crucially, our data will be used by businesses in so many different industries who are all building their own AI models to help them make critical business decisions. So financial services and insurance industries will use our data to assess all kinds of different risk, whether it's weather derivatives, whether it's obviously, insuring homes in areas with kind of climate risk. Renewable energy companies will use our data to predict energy outputs, logistics, transport, defense, aviation. All these industries really require ESG data to drive smarter decisions. And of course, agriculture is hugely reliant on the weather. In 2020, the World Bank did a study and it estimates weather-related agricultural losses every year average about 10 billion worldwide. This economic cost, and most importantly, the loss of human life that's caused by severe weather events, unfortunately, is well documented right now. The wildfires in LA this year, last year's mudslides in Valencia, the impact of these events, they could really have been reduced with better access to data and the weather intelligence that we derive from the data. So our network will provide the infrastructure for understanding and monitoring the impact of climate change on our planet. We really connect the physical world to intelligent systems. To wrap this up, personally, I'm so excited about the power of DeepIn in the weather industry. As I mentioned, I was the first marketing hire at Weather Underground, and I launched and built the world's largest crowdsourced data network in the Web 2 world. We had 250,000 weather station owners contributing data at Weather Underground, but we faced a lot of challenges, and DeepIn is really helping solve these. Perhaps the number one reason DeepIn is going to change the way we can collect weather data is sensor coverage. Normally, with traditional networks, it will track the population. Big cities will have loads of stations, really high resolution sensors, but there'll be virtually no coverage in more rural areas. And these are rural areas in the US or globally are often the areas that you're growing agriculture, you're considering creating a solar farm. So we can really encourage deployment of stations in specific areas with these coverage gaps by offering greater incentives to people who contribute in the areas that need the data the most. Also, traditional weather station networks have data coming from hundreds of different station types, different hardware. All of our stations are manufactured by us. So the quality and accuracy is very easy to control. The QC process is very easy and instant. Anyway, yeah, so I think that's definitely my 5 minutes. You can go to nubila.ai to learn more. I would encourage you to look at our Discord and X. You can actually ask our weather AI agent any weather-related question, on those Discord channels.
Sweet. Thanks for sharing, Toby. And guys, all yours.
Hey, I'll just go first because I'm known Benton for a long time. I'm from San Francisco, big fan of what you're doing, Toby. I guess like I'll ask like questions when I bring up Nubila, like when I talk about you guys on panels to other people. Not a question for me, but just like a question you can answer for a lot of people. People always get worried about like the security of the data and then the spoofing. Do you want to like explain like how hyperlocal and what you guys are doing with DeepIn kind of like solves those kind of issues, Toby?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned weather derivatives industry, that is growing so fast. So many billions of dollars are being kind of hedged on, crops not being affected by the weather. Weather Underground, Bloomberg was our biggest client for all the commodity brokers around the world. And, traditionally, if you're storing all this historical data off chain, then, it's not immutable. People can change it. And if you're paying out a lot of money, you want to make sure that you have full confidence that the data in this exact location was what is being reported in the archives. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question.
Quick question. What is the main differentiation or USP from Nubila versus WeatherXM or SkyX, for example? Especially in SkyX, because the hardware looks very similar.
Yeah, so it may look similar, but we have extensive experience with R&D. We actually purchased a company called Bloom Sky that has one of the largest networks with a station that includes the sky cameras. So the quality of the hardware, the accuracy of the data, is the main differentiator. We've already got more scale than them. Our team has a very varied background. We have experts in AI, obviously Web3 and DeepIn. I bring the weather experience of the industry, and then we have Hog, who is our chief hardware officer, and he does the R&D from California. And the first device that we released, the Marco device, is just the first. As I mentioned, it's not just about the weather. We're already exploring other devices for other types of environmental data, whether it's air quality, particulate matter, carbon, soil, water. We have high ambitions to just focus on all kinds of ESG data.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, these are the types
I'm
of
just curious
projects.
about.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No problem. You go ahead, Leonardo. I'll go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that these are the types of projects, that get me excited about the DeepIn in the first place. This kind of real world bridging of Web3 tech and, use cases that has been so fragmented and, so inconsistent in the past. We are really looking to make, these systems and models like cheaper and faster and more accurate, more in depth. And, Web3 can really do that with the right teams, with the right expertise and resources. So kudos to you, in this regard. And I'm very excited about the roadmap, of really tapping into all these industries that you mentioned, like transport, defense, agriculture, insurance. I think, there are a lot of ways to capitalize on those. But of course, from a business model perspective, you have to start somewhere like, a bit more separately. Like you have to, go from one sector to another to not like spread out too thin and then, not being able to offer, your kind of like 100% to like the sectors that you want to tap into. So I'm just curious, which sector, whether that would be agriculture or transport or whatever you're prioritizing, where do you think, maybe you can make the most strides or the most revenue streams, or kind of like build out like the most stations, and that would help you like spearhead to the next stages and the next sectors?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, absolutely. We know we're not overnight going to suddenly have high resolution coverage of the entire planet. But we are researching a lot of areas where we can focus, like test pilot projects. We're already working with a kind of smart home sprinkler system wise. But I think in terms of high level industry, the financial services industry is obviously huge, just because of the amount of money that is being now hedged on weather derivatives. I mentioned commodity broking, especially areas of the world don't traditionally have a lot of data coverage. India, obviously huge agricultural powerhouse, the biggest cotton growing market in the world. But if you're a trader on Wall Street, obviously having better weather information is going to give you more confidence in all your decisions. So those two, and then agriculture, we can also, because we can, we have the hardware element too, right? We're talking to a very interesting nonprofit in Africa that helps farmers, educates farmers in Africa. And, we hope that we can get some very hyperlocal networks in and help not just collect the data, but help them use the data, interpret the data. So yeah, agriculture is definitely going to be a huge area for us. And I think actually it's just the weather industry itself, right? There's so many people working on these forecast AI models that, we can help them with making our data accessible to everybody. There's a climate risk assessment. There's a lot of companies building their own models so that you can research a house you might buy and like, what is the long-term kind of risk profile of purchasing or putting your life savings into this property? Is it going to be underwater in 15 years? That kind of stuff. Oh, last one I'll mention is, I did mention it, renewable energy. I'm talking to lots of people in the solar, and obviously offshore wind is going to be a big area. And actually it's more the financial people. If you're a financial company backing solar installations, whether it's commercial or residential, being able to have confidence in the energy output is, crucial for, again, understanding risk.
Yeah, like, I mean, all these utilities are like very expensive. And I think, I'm not sure if you're like already profitable, so you can allow yourselves to also go into, like you mentioned, like nonprofits and the areas that really need to become like not just a profitable, but also like a really positive player in the space, but also like globally. I think that would, really change the face of the current kind of like projects and entities and enterprises like we have, running these things, and it can make a lot of better impact. And I think you're positioned very well to do both.
No, because you can't, I know from my previous experience, you can't give away stations, even if you have the money. If you give somebody a weather station, traditionally it's unlikely that it will ever be properly located. It definitely won't be maintained because there's no motivation. They haven't invested their own money. But obviously parts of the world where there's a lot of gaps in data coverage may not have the means for regular people to buy the station. But we're looking into possible kind of syndication where, again, if you're trading cotton from Wall Street, maybe you would donate some money to get some local stations put into the cotton fields in India. And then the people that we are given the stations to maintain, they will share the rewards that come from the deep-in process.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you for your answers. I really liked your pitch and your thought process there. Curious to look into more. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, please do.
Awesome. Thanks, Toby. Thanks for sharing with us. And
thank you, guys.
Yeah, now it's time for one more. We have Abo, and I think we have Jason up on stage with us. Welcome, Jason.
Still two left. So Avo and then
Do we have
Datagram after
anybody
Jay.
else after? Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Just those two. Two left.
Correct,
So
correct, correct. Jason is from Datagram,
yeah.
and then we have
So
Avo.
yeah, you got it. So okay, we'll go ahead with Jason first then.
Okay, we can do that. Hey guys, how's everyone doing tonight? Or it's tonight for me. It's 2 a.m. here in Hong Kong.
11 a.m. here on the West Coast and doing fantastic.
Brilliant. Anyway, my name is Jason. I'm going to run you guys through a little bit about what Datagram is and what we do and why we do it. I've been in the blockchain space for a long time here, and I've run across quite a few of you before, so it's nice to talk to you guys again. One of the things that I've learned through, over a decade of painful experience in the space is that, blockchain has a tendency to be very heavy on promises, very light on delivery. We're very much a hype-driven industry, but, I think that DeepIn is one of the areas where we really can shine and we can really show the world sort of, what we're all about. And so I would love to introduce you to Datagram. What Datagram is it is a hyperfabric network that is designed to bring together idle resources from across the internet into a DeepIn infrastructure that can serve and solve a lot of the problems that we are currently facing, in DeepIn networks in general. So some of the things that we're seeing right now, especially if you start looking at, I'm not going to name names here, but a lot of the DeepIn projects out there have some issues with, putting some supply before demand. They have, they aggregate resources or they sell miners or nodes or whatever that don't actually have any real users. The networks themselves are often, vaporware or based around fundraising only. The tokenomics surrounding them are, generally speaking, unsustainable. Things are fragmented. There's very little standardization. Infrastructure goes to waste on the internet in general, with up to 60% of traditional internet resources basically sitting idle most of the time. And this is across compute, storage, and bandwidth. And then, obviously centralization itself and, traditional internet infrastructure has obviously its cost that we all pay, unfortunately, from time to time. So the solution is Datagram. We're an AI-driven interoperable hyperfabric network that dynamically aggregates and manages to redistribute idle resources. So what you can imagine is you have devices surrounding you all the time. I mean, these devices are things that range from your personal computers to other network devices, servers, the whole gamut. They have idle resources in terms of bandwidth, compute in terms of both CPU and GPU, and storage. All of these resources can be pooled together and aggregated in the Datagram network, where they can be made available to any sort of demand side applications, whether it be things that are based on UDP for conferencing or TCP for games or any sort of data or storage, or honestly, pretty much anything that you would use a centralized service for. Now, why would people do this? First, it's significantly cheaper than centralized resources. Typically, we can save people between 70 to 90% on their centralized resource bills. We're also able to scale quite effectively and quite locally, depending on what is required in a given area. The network is designed to incentivize people in an area with high demand to deploy additional supply. This results in, generally speaking, better performance, lower latency, and it is extremely secure because every single connection that happens throughout the network is, excuse me. I'm also sick, by the way, so forgive the terrible voice and occasional deathly cough. But the network itself is extremely secure, with every connection throughout the network being basically considered a one-time use VPN tunnel. So obviously there are a tremendous amount of utility for this in the market in general, with rising requirements for data and infrastructure. how it all works is you essentially have a enterprise and consumer application layer that then feeds down into the intelligent coordination layer. This is our AI-driven layer that's based on a decentralized system that is aggregating all of these resources. This is managed and controlled by node operators. And then in addition to sort of your standard full core node operators, we also have, and this is one of the things that I think is really cool, we have a partner core node operators that are running what we call the Datagram core substrate. Now, the reason the Datagram core substrate is important is that there are tons and tons of DeepIn projects out there that initially went live, they sold nodes, they may have node networks that are deployed that are supposed to do things, but in many cases, again, back to that sort of vaporware point, many of them don't actually deliver on that promise. Now, that may not be intentional. They're not trying to rug or anything like that, but DeepIn is difficult. Decentralization is difficult, and they may be focusing on something else, music, for example, or, video games, and are not paying attention to sort of the nuts and bolts of the DeepIn. So what we offer is we offer the ability for projects to use the Datagram core substrate that deploys across their node network as well, running in parallel with whatever their workload is. You package up your workload on top of the core substrate. We handle all of the uptime and usage tracking for you throughout your network, making it available for you to pull down via an API so you can do your token distribution for rewards wherever you want to do them. It is chain agnostic in that regard. And it allows you to focus on doing the thing that is important to you, which is, the music or the video games, not necessarily the DeepIn part. So we, through the creation of a series of standards, we make it possible for, people to leverage their DeepIn networks and get the most out of it and, help everyone out in the process. The cool thing about us is that we initially started as a spin-off of a backend of a commercially successful Web2 company. And after sort of historical digression, but after I left Gala about 10 months ago, I went and co-founded Datagram with Dr. William Nguyen, who's one of the most brilliant technologists I have ever met. And we have built this out and have over 1 million users right now, most of which have no idea are using Web3. And that's, sort of the holy grail of onboarding. And these, run from, companies like Heineken in Southeast Asia and Forbes Vietnam, TEDx, there's a few other academic and governmental tie-ins there that are using primarily the UDP streaming component of what we've built. But there's a tremendous amount that's going on. We are currently finishing out we're at the very, very tail end of our raise here. And we are currently backed by Avalanche's Blizzard Fund and Animoca and Iskra and Amber and a number of other organizations and individuals who are prominent in the space. And we are going to be moving forward to a node sale in May and then a TGE in July is our current timeline. So that's what we've got. So please let me know what questions I can answer for you.
Thanks, Jason. Guys, all yours.
No, thank you for the pitches. I think very interesting. So I was checking the website. The first thing that I thought was you guys are building some sort of like Huddle 01 kind of RTC communication for like Google Chrome, like Google Meet or Zoom alternative. But after you talk, it's much more than that, right?
It's so much more than that. My
Yeah,
number one
exactly.
thing that I have to do when I talk to people is they see that and they're like, "Oh, Huddle One." I'm like, "That was
Exactly.
built.
No. Yeah.
That was built only as a tech demo to demonstrate what we can do, not as the product." That's just, I mean,
Yes.
ultimately at the end of the day, I mean, it's like AWS is not Zoom, even though Zoom is based on AWS. That sort of thing.
No, exactly. No, I completely got it once I heard you say that. That's my feedback. Look on the website, I thought it was like, okay, it's just like a web RTC kind of communication, but
Yeah.
it's a communication layer that you're building, right?
It's a lot more than just the communication layer. It's the communication coordination layer. down to basically everything above the hardware itself up to delivery for the application side. We focus primarily on a protocol to business to consumer pipeline, where our main focus is on helping businesses perform whatever they are required to do to serve their consumers better. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we believe very strongly that, basically trying to go from protocol to consumer is not going to work. It's a recipe for disaster, because there's just not enough individual consumers in the Web3 space that care. What we need to do is we need to work directly with businesses and leverage them. Basically do what Amazon did. Amazon was never successful because Jeff Bezos wanted to sell books, right? Amazon was successful because it provided infrastructure and a way for other people to be successful. This is what we're doing.
Nice. Awesome. And then the node sale is going to be like a software license NFT that people then deploy on some like node as a service, or would you guys also think about running those nodes on people's homes, or focus more on like data centers?
We actually aren't super interested in data centers. I mean, they're obviously a part of things. They're part of the industry. There's, no way you can get around them. But the way that the nodes are actually configured, there's this concept that I put together when I was at Gala called the entrepreneurial metagame. And basically, it's the recognition that the people who own the hardware versus the one who own the license versus the one who play the games or own the NFTs, these are all separate groups of people with different interests and requirements. What we want to do is we want to enable the people who own the software licenses to look at the best place to deploy that license based on where the actual demand is. And this does two things. The first is, if there's an area where there is higher demand, you're incentivized to make sure that you deploy there. So, if we have a lot of connections in Los Angeles, for example, then people will be able to see that on the heat map and say, okay, well, I can leverage this by, asking my mom to run this on her computer because she lives in LA, that sort of thing. On the other hand, what it does is it also makes you look at this from the perspective of, okay, well, here I am, I'm in Minot, North Dakota. Okay, there's nobody else near me. I run a node. I'm incentivized now to tell everyone to use this as a service, get local businesses on board using it, because now suddenly all of that traffic is going to be passing through the endpoint with the least latency, which is going to be my node. Therefore, I generate additional revenue because of that. So you can run it on damn near anything, man. Like it's the nice thing about this is it can run on a lot of different types of architecture. In fact, I want to talk to the Nubila guys because I'd love to get this stuff on their weather stations as well, because it'd be great to have on-chain uptime for everybody there, and then also would help make our network more robust. But you could run it on a router, you could run it on your smart fridge if you had the technical wherewithal to do that. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Guys, Jason, thank you for that. And Daniel, thank you. Let's do one more question, but I want to be mindful of time because we also have another project. We're a little bit late. So, Jason, if you want to take maybe one more question, a couple of minutes max, and then we go to Avo. Thank you. I mean, if anybody feels like it, Leonardo, or I don't see Scott, so maybe you had to go. So I don't know if Leonardo or Aaron, you guys have a question. Otherwise, we move on.
Yeah, Scott had to go.
Oh, okay.
Good from my side.
Yeah, I mean, maybe quickly from my side, I've been talking, especially in the last year, with quite a few like latency and like streaming focused like businesses and projects. And I'm curious, what's your take on the competitive landscape? Because of course there are a lot of like projects kind of doing the similar thing, maybe on like a lesser scale, maybe they're newer. So what are you most afraid of, like with competitors, and how do you think you stand out? Like, is it like the scale? Is it the expertise? Is it the network? Yeah, curious about that.
So, I mean, from an experiential perspective, I think that we stand out clearly, head and shoulders above a lot of the quote unquote competition. The interesting thing about this, though, is I don't necessarily see us as being competitors to everything in the space. Ultimately, what works best is if all of these different projects come together and aggregate resources. We're the only project out there that provides a way for people to do that. So let's say you have, let's use Huddle 01 for example. There's nothing that says that they can't integrate the Datagram substrate, continue to use their service, help us expand our network at the same time, and at the same time, as they do that, as they expand our network through the use of the substrate, we make their network more efficient because now there's more available connections across the entire thing. This works better if we all work together. I'm not particularly worried about any type of competition. I think that from a technical level, we've got everything that we need, and we're not siloed. A lot of the other projects out there are doing one thing, like they're doing storage or they're doing, just real-time communication or just, GPU compute or something like that. I think we've got sort of the whole package, and we can make everybody's project more robust, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, because I think primarily your aggregation point is what drives you like further. I think, how 1inch kind of like manifested the value of aggregators. We see that like
Yep.
being implemented in like different verticals, different like business models, etc. And I do agree that like we don't have like as kind of cohesive maybe models so far, at least like not with the projects that I have spoken to. So yeah, I think that's definitely your strong suit. Nice. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jason. Thanks, Leonardo, for the question. Let's go to last project for today. Finally, last but not least, Avo.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah, happy to just get started. So in terms of Avo, we are a marketplace for crypto trading agents. So big problem if anyone's ever traded a meme before or been in the trenches is simply there's rug pulls everywhere, there's scams, there's honeypots, and there's just so many different issues with the space when it comes to meme trading. And eventually, even if you dodge all of these different bullets, you realize it's an insider game at the end of the day. And so if you don't have the ticker before other people, it's hard to win in the space. There are some fundamentals, but that's oftentimes with larger market cap coins, most people of which are trading earlier on. The beautiful thing about the market right now is that there's really brilliant teams that are coming out that are creating trading agents that let you actually trade on autopilot. And the beautiful thing about these teams is that they're actually taking into account how to make sure you're not falling into rugs, honeypots, or other scams. So I wouldn't be surprised in the future if everyone was using a trading agent to trade for them and they weren't in the trenches like they are today. Now, the beautiful thing with Avo is that we aggregate all these trading agents. Right now, you have to find out about them through CT or hope that you have a friend that tells you about them. But there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, that come out in the coming next months, the next bull. It's happening. I think everyone knows a project that's building something along these lines. And so what Avo does is we basically aggregate all these agents. Not only do we do that, so it's easy for you to find the ones that you want to use and launch, but you can also put custom protections on top of that. So we have 3 different protections you can pick from. If you really want to feel like you're still in the trenches, you can use a DGen custom protection label, and that lets you have the safest, or not the safest, the most risky of trading when it comes to these agents, versus you can do something that's safe, similar to an ETF, very large market cap coins. You're never going to be early, but you're never again going to get rugged again. So that's what we're building on a high level. We're working with teams right now where they can list on Avo and get 50% of commission fees. Users can go to Avo and they can use these agents to follow these agents. Simple. That's how it works. Now, there's 3 things that make Avo really cool. The first of which I already talked about, which was the idea that you can pick which trader type you want to be, and that has different safeguards. Many of these are risk-adjusted agents, which means that they're safer than if you aped into these agents yourself if you found them on different platforms. The second thing is that they're back-tested, which means you can see the performance of these agents over time. most of the times when you go to an app and you're either following a KOL or you're looking at an agent, what you're going to see is balance over time. What that means is you're seeing if someone put in a bunch of money, they deposited a bunch of money, it looks like their performance went up when it actually didn't. They just added money to an agent or a wallet. What we do is we actually take these fluctuations into account so you can actually appropriate what the performance has been over time. There's no other app that lets you do this currently. And then finally, we provide a recommendation. So we're AI at its core, which means over time, as you use Avo more, we can start to understand what type of agents you like and start to recommend personal agents for you and even build them based off of when you buy, when you sell, and what type of agents that you're using. So on a holistic level, it's a marketplace where you can find these trading agents. We've already launched. We're in a closed beta right now with about 100 users, but we have thousands on our wait list that we're slowly letting in throughout the months so that we can iterate on the product before we do an official launch. We're VC backed, and yeah, we've been building for about a year now, and it's been really, really exciting. I'll leave it there for any questions.
Sweet. Thanks, Avo, for pitching that. Aaron or Daniel, anything from you guys?
I think it's really cool. I'm not so much into the AI trading agents, so I won't pitch in too much. What kind of what kind of technology are you guys building behind closed doors, let's say, to build this?
Yes, so we are actually going to be one of the first projects out there that are actually not a dev tool that is taking advantage of the MPC layer. And the way that we're able to do that is that these agents, there's going to be agents that are basically LLM models that are using sentiment data to do trades or find signals. When they find a signal, they're going to go to this server where it's like, hey, we found a signal. Make sure that all the agents that are using this one agent can now execute. And so we're going to have execution agents as well. So there's very much a complex 3-process AI layer that we've implemented, which makes it very secure, but it also means that we're actually using AI, unlike a lot of projects that are trying to get into the space that aren't right now. We've built our entire infrastructure around that future technology. So that's what we're doing on the back end.
Nice. Yeah, I love the use of MPC. Are you running your own infrastructure or just like plugging in ChatGPT or like DeepSeek or other API, like bigger models?
It's a mix of both. So some of them are going to be our own models. Most of them are going to be pre-existing models like DeepSeek, like GPT. And then we're also working with teams that are creating their own models or using whatever they think is best fit. So it would be up for them to choose there.
Nice, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, the AI agent landscape is really cramped right now, of course. And again, I'm very excited about the aggregator models of any type of any sector. So I'm curious, to hear kind of like your perspective on, who do you see as competitors and who do you see as integrators? Like, I know you might like also say like, oh, we can kind of like work with anybody because we can offer specific incentives to like build with us and offer like certain deals to the users to kind of incentivize like using that through your platform. But like, what's your like, I guess, end goal here? Do you want to aggregate every kind of like reliable or like more successful AI agent like within Avo, or yeah, is there something else in like the kind of like timeline there that you are like focusing on?
Yeah, it's a great question. To your first point, you're completely right. Basically, anyone that we thought was a competitor ended up being a partner. So that's the great thing about crypto is there's not really any competitors and you can almost always find a way to work with everyone. So we thought it would be Arkham. Turns out we can just use their data for signals because they're not going necessarily into the aggregation industry of agents, but they provide signals for us to build our own agents, which has been really great. So a lot of people that we thought would have been competitors have actually just been able to either list on Avo or provide additional infrastructure for us to build our agents on. So that's been great on that end currently. And then the second thing I would say, and there's no real aggregators, I would also say, that have come out yet, at least. So there's not been any competition there on that end. But I'm sure even if that did happen, there's ways to work together. On the other end of it, of what the end goal is, we think that in the future, instead of people trading memes or trading coins, or even in traditional TradFi trading stocks, everyone's going to be using an agent. It's almost like a personal advisor that everyone has access to at any given time. So the end goal is for Avo to be the way that people trade. Right now, it's still maybe going on Pump Fund and trading memes, but we think in the future, most people don't want to be in the trenches. They don't want to stare at a chart for 40 hours a day in their mom's basement. Most people want to touch grass. And we think that is actually going to happen. And Avo is going to be a big push in making that happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. And of course, like with the partnership roadmap there, you can tap into a lot of different opportunities and, you know, enable new revenue streams, enable new pivoting strategies. So that's something, you know, for a project that's enables a longer term like kind of existence overall. So yeah, that's all from my side. Thanks for great answers.
Awesome. Yeah, just wondering, Ange, where are you guys in the funding process right now?
Yeah, so we've raised $225K from different VCs and angels. We might raise another round in the future, maybe, depending on how everything goes. But for now, yeah, we've just been locking in and really iterating on the product.
Love it. I'm not sure if you guys saw during our episode here, but some stuff happened related to tariffs. It sounds like the tariffs are going to be delayed. So everything's kind of pumping right now. So I think I'm going to be jumping into the trenches, or am I able to use Avo right now? Can you give some idea of like where you guys are in the process of actually launching?
Yes, so anybody that's on the call will actually give you exclusive access to our beta. So the only thing that you need to have access to the platform is that we need to whitelist some sort of wallet address. So if you just DM me a wallet address you want to use, I'll add you right to the platform and you can be in the trenches today.
Let's go.
Wow.
Which chains do you guys work with?
Right now, we're only on Solana. In the future, we're trying to do Hyperliquid, really be chain agnostic.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, Avo, thank you very much. Thanks everybody here. Thank you to all the speakers. I don't know if maybe Aaron, you had like some final thoughts, but otherwise, I think we're ready to wrap this up. It was quite
Yeah,
awesome.
it was a lot of fun, guys. Yeah, really appreciate all your guys' time. Definitely a full hour and a half there. So that was great. Amazing projects again. And can't wait to invite some of you back for the next round.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like every week we like, you know, talk after this and we're like, wow, these projects are so good. We won them all. So it makes our life a little bit harder. But we will come up with the final selection for the next round by next week. And then obviously we share on our socials. So feel free to follow Aaron, myself, and iTech's main account, obviously. And also for everybody that's here on stage, just give these guys a follow, especially for the people that came to pitch, because as I say, it takes some guts to do it in front of a ton of strangers, especially when you don't really see the people that you're talking to. And so thank you for that. And thank obviously for all your time, you know, judges. Come here, share your insights, share your experience with us. So it's very valuable. And I hope that you guys want to come back and do this with us, Daniel and Leonardo. And yeah, Scott has been back already. We like having him over.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Anytime. Count on me.
Nice.
Awesome.
Sweet. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank
See
you,
next
guys.
time. Thank you.